Kia ora and welcome to Wāhine, a podcast celebrating wahine in business who are carving their own path with intention, courage and vision. This is a space for honest kōrero about building a business that reflects your identity, your values and the legacy you're creating. I'm your host, Sandra Julian, business coach, mentor and Wāhine Māori. In each episode, I sit down with wahine entrepreneurs and leaders to explore the real stories behind their success, the lived experiences, the cultural connections, and the bold leadership that shape who they are not only in business, but in life. This isn't hustle culture. This is wahine legacy leadership. Kia ora e homa, and welcome to a very special episode of the podcast. Now, if you've been here for a wee while and you've been a long-time listener of Business Your Way, you may have noticed that things look a little bit different around here. And that's because they are. And it has been super intentional. Today marks the beginning of a new chapter or a new season of the podcast. It's a rebrand, it's a reclamation, and it's most definitely a deeper alignment with my values, my vision, and the wahine or the woman that I'm here to serve. So, Business Your Way as of today is Wāhine. And this rebrand has been a wee while in the making. It's been brewing over a few months, you could say. It's been whispering to me in the quiet moments of the day, asking me to listen, to realign, and to lead from a place that feels even more rooted in who I am and what this podcast has always meant to become. It's a bit like the podcast coming home to itself. So let me tell you a bit more about what Wāhine means, because it's not just a name change, it's a statement. And for those here at home in Aotearoa, you'll know what the word wahine means. But for those listeners who are tuning in from all corners of the world, the word wahine is Māori word for woman, whether that is single or plural. And the word is made up of two components. The first is wā, which means time. It also carries this essence of space and presence and rhythm. And the second component is hine. Now, hine honours the feminine, the wahine who walk this path with strength and softness and sovereignty. So when you put those two components together, you get wāhine. And wāhine is about more than just business. It's about her time, her identity, her business, her life, and her legacy. The podcast will continue to hold space for the kind of kōrero or the conversations that we've always shared here. There have been some amazing women on this podcast from all corners of the globe who have come and they've shared honestly. They've been grounded and powerful in their conversations. Their businesses are incredible. And I hope if you've been listening to the podcast for a wee while that you have taken away some real lessons or some real insights from those conversations that we've already had on the podcast. But now we're just doing it under a different name. We're actually bringing the podcast and those conversations under umbrella that better reflects the kaupapa that we're here to honour. Because wahine is a space where business meets whakapapa, where leadership meets legacy, where Indigenous wahine and values-led women from all walks of life come to share their stories, share their insights, and share their truth. Because we're not building businesses. We're actually creating intergenerational ripples with our business. We're shaping what leadership looks like, and we're doing it in all ways that honour who we are and where we come from. So you can expect a new episode to land on the second Wednesday of each and every month. And that's a little reminder that if you haven't already done so, it's time to hit the follow or subscribe button so that you get each episode delivered straight to your podcast app or wherever you listen to your podcasts. And it also helps other wahine find the show, thanks to the algorithm doing its thing for me. So most of the time, I will be sitting down with a wahine entrepreneur or leader having a in-depth, real conversation about what it takes to do business in a way that feels true to who she is. But every now and then I might drop in with a solo episode, and it'll be in between those conversations. And these solo episodes are not going to be on a regular cadence. They'll just be when I feel inspired or I feel the need to share what's on my mind or to share what's going on behind the scenes in my world. Or maybe it's a lesson that I've learned as I'm going along. There are still so many things in business that I wish I had known years ago, but you can't live your life in hindsight, right? You can just learn what you learn when you learn it and apply it and grow from there. So I might be inspired to share something like that with you. But whether you have been with me from the beginning, or from the beginning of the podcast, or the beginning of my business journey some 25 years ago, or whether you are tuning into the podcast for the first time, I thank you from the bottom of my heart. It really does mean so much to walk alongside you in this space and hold space for you and for allow you to be connected with the incredible wahine that we have here on the podcast. So now, as we begin this new chapter together, I invite you to tune in. I invite you to share the podcast with other wahine who need to hear these stories, who need to connect with other women, who need to feel like they're not alone. Because business can be a lonely journey if you allow it to be. And it is spaces like this podcast that will help you feel that you're not alone and help you feel connected to others in business. So I encourage you, keep showing up in your business your way, because this is your time and this is wahine. And that brings us to the end of this episode. Thank you so much for listening to Wāhine. If today's kōrero resonated with you, inspired you, or made you stop and think, I'd love for you to follow the show and share it with another wahine in business. You'll find all of the links and details from this episode in the show notes. And if you're enjoying the podcast, I would really love it if you could leave a quick rating or review wherever you're listening to the podcast, because that goes a long way to helping others find this podcast and the stories we're sharing in this space. So until next time, keep building your business your way, grounded in who you are and the legacy you're here to create.